Hello everyone, I am Kavita Agrawal. I am a CFA and CMT charter holder and the founder of EXP Invest. I have been using and practicing technical analysis since the last 10 years, and I am also one of the youngest people in the world to have finished all 3 levels of the exam. So for this investment challenge, I have a few tips for you to use. The first is, when you're reading the charts, do exactly that. Read them. Don't just look at them. When you only look for patterns and don't read the charts properly, taking the time to look back at historical price actions rather than just the most recent price actions, trying to nitpick chart patterns, what happens is that you end up not reading the full story. Instead, how it works is like reading single lines, a few lines from lots of different stories. By the time you've reached the climax, nothing's gonna make a lot of sense, right? So this is how you're going to read it. You start with the daily time frame and you go emphasis on the daily chart. Back in December 2018 showed a positive divergence between RSI and the price, and after that the price went on to rally 32% in a period of 90 days. The 15-minute chart during this period kept touching the level of 30 on RSI and crossing the level of 70 multiple times and staying there for longer time periods. You keep adding one line for each indicator you use. The second thing is time frames. When you're studying a stock or an index, I always suggest you to use multiple time frames, but then don't go crazy, don't go more than 3 to 4 time frames. I always suggest you to use multiple time frames, but then don't go crazy, don't go more than 3 to 4 time frames. I always suggest you to use multiple time frames, but then don't go crazy, don't go more than 3 to 4 time frames. I always suggest you to use multiple time frames, but then don't go crazy, don't go more than 3 to 4 time frames. So personally, I prefer to use the weekly chart and then go 1/5 step down and look at the daily chart. And then I like to look at the 75-minute chart. 75-minute chart in Indian equity, because there are 375 trading minutes each day. And when you break them down, they make 5 clean candles. A lot of people still tend to use 60-minute charts, but the problem is that when you use 60-minute charts, it gives you a residual candle with just 15 minutes of data, which can give you the impression of having a doji, right? So you don't want that. So keep your charts clean, your data clean before you start studying it. The next thing is to make sure you're using proper risk management. Don't obsess over profits. Profits are going to come after you have managed your risks properly. Think of it like a game of Mario, where during the game you're not obsessing about winning over the princess, you're obsessing over managing the little turtles and the different challenges that come your way. Same as with the stock market. The only difference is that you won't be able to avoid a lot of the danger, and every time you come in contact with something, it's not a virtual life that you're losing, you're losing actual capital here. So remember to manage your risks properly without obsessing over the profit. When you manage risks, the profit comes automatically, right? Alright, the next thing is capital allocation. Now, say in risk management, you're using a good risk to reward ratio. You're maintaining a minimum of 3, but despite of that, the risk on say any single stock idea is too high. So you don't want to subject your capital to very high risk investments in big chunks. Advice that I have for you is about chart reading again. Try to keep it simple. Don't apply too many different indicators on too many different time frames at the same time. You don't need to study more than 2 or 3 different indicators. Indicators ultimately tell you the same thing, They just say it in different languages. I hope you'll find all of these tips very helpful. I wish you all the best for the investment challenge. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me via email. I am also available to discuss things with you on the Discord channel. All the best.